Initial thoughts on the game, the series,
Yeah,
the whole
good
thing.
all-around game today. Obviously, 10 runs in the first inning, good way to start. We threw a lot of strikes and played good defense behind it, and got a lot of people involved. A lot of guys showed up in a good way, and overall for the weekend, step in the right direction for our team.
What have you learned about this group 11 games in?
We've had to adjust. We've stepped into space that maybe didn't anticipate being available. Seeing some guys in some different spots and adjusting, and all the while going out and playing to win. And there's been some really well pitched games. There's been some good defense at times. There's been some good swings, and there's been some days where we weren't able to get the pitch-to-pitch concentration necessary to play at a high level. But we're growing. Each week is a new challenge. Last week we had a 4-game week and we went 3-1. One of the games we didn't play particularly well on the road. The other 3 we played well at home. The week before that, we played 4 games on the road. We won 3 of the 4. We're just trying to move forward, and we've done that. We've gotten better. We still have a long way to go.
Josh, what did you think of Jansen's
Pretty good. He had some room to operate, which is always good. And without watching the execution, I've talked to Coach Walton how he felt about the execution of all his pitches. But he goes 5 and had a pretty solid management of his pitch count. And usually you evaluate each outing, kind of look back and how well do guys execute their pitches, hit their spots. But we gave him some room to operate, and he knocked off 5 solid innings. And then we were able to get a few other guys some touches. Need to get Hudgens involved. That was good to see him get 2 innings under his belt, get Kyle Body back out there, and we didn't want to go the entire week without Carson touching the mound. So we're trying to get him built into his pitching role too. So yeah, I think Jansen was solid.
Carson was talking about how it kind of was a week before the fall season decision to kind of mesh him into that closer role. How did that come about?
Well, there's other things in play about how we're using him. If you guys ever want to see a GPS report on how many yards and high-speed yards he runs every day, you'd be astounded how much the right fielder runs. He runs the equivalent of 30 miles every weekend playing right field. Your legs matter in how you can pitch, right? Also, his kind of December, January ramp up as a pitcher wasn't quite as early as some of the other guys. So we're trying to use Carson as effectively as possible. It's not just as simple as to kind of toe him up and start him, or close. There's just so many two-way players just have more moving parts than any other component of management. And so taking a lot of things into account for him, really. I mean, it wasn't just one of those things where at the last minute we made that decision. We're still evolving with our roles and trying to make sure his is established or built in, right? But initially his pitch count and his length was better suited for short look than say a long look, right? Just because of the demands placed on his body.
Yep.
Nobody else is running 20 miles on Friday and Saturday and trying to pitch on Sunday.
Right.
Most guys, if they ran 10 miles a day, and that's just how we chart the number of steps that he takes, and he hits doubles, triples, you run the bases like crazy, then we know how many high-speed steps he takes, right? Most pitchers on the days they don't pitch, what are they doing? Yeah, they're chewing seeds and making jokes on the bench, right? He's out there running around. So we're trying to figure the exact way to best maximize him, right? We thought a short look in the pen initially was where it starts. That's kind of where we're at. That's why we want to make sure we got him 1 inning today.
You've been pretty high on a kid like Charlie Carter. How did it feel to see him get a base hit?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, Charlie had a good fall, and Charlie's a capable player. He's a good defensive player. We got 2-man catching system between he and Ian, and they're both going to catch. They're both going to be a huge part of our success. And Charlie needed to get another day and get in there and kind of continue to grow, and he did that today. His bats were much better today than yesterday. So step forward.
Colin and Avery combined to go 6 for 9 today. Both get home runs. How big can that be for confidence moving forward for those freshmen?
Well, huge. I thought Avery's first 2 at bats, he looked like a young stud. Those were advanced, elite swings, not seen often. And at times, Colin's going to give you the same. So those are exciting moments in time for those kids, and they're exciting for the team. And it's exciting that they're young. they're both strong, they're both talented, they're both working hard, and they both factor into the success we're going to have. So it's very positive, very positive.
Obviously, plenty of offense this weekend. I mean, 7 runs on Friday, 8 yesterday, and then 19 today. What do you think has led to so much offense specifically this weekend?
Well, the elements were a little more favorable for offense. We played on the road a lot, and we played in a gigantic dome. That's not a favorable hitter's park. Obviously, operate with the wind and the sun, it's more offensive, right? So I think you always look at when you're evaluating the environment and what's, these were offensive conditions, so that's one thing. We did a good job of hitting the right pitches, that's another thing. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a couple, 2, 3 different factors, and some kids did a really good job. Jackson Kroll had a heck of a weekend, and obviously you mentioned some multiple guys starting to find the barrel a little bit, and we have others that are going to soon. I would just say, maybe a little bit of getting home, sleeping in your own bed, getting used to using your own batting cage in your preparation cycle, right? When you're at home, you get a chance to get ready to play on your own terms. And then maybe getting into the bullpens of the opponent earlier in the game and getting their starters out of the game and getting some bullpen pitchers in there that maybe don't have quite the stuff.
I don't think Lane has hit above like 270 something in his time at MSU. He's hitting 361 right now. What is he doing well at the plate, you think?
Well, he's competing really good. He's having fun. He's playing baseball. He's moving the ball with the bunt. He's hitting and running. He's moving runners. He's playing the game good. And he's not just judging himself solely on base hits, but rather quality of bats. And sometimes guys just need a fresh start. You know what I mean? That's a chance for him to come here and finish his college career with a clean slate and leave any of the, sometimes we tug around past experiences with us and we can't quite shed them. I think he's been able to shed any of his offensive shortcomings from the past and focus on the player he wants to be now and not feel like he's reduced to just being a continuation of where he was. He's gotten better. He's worked hard at it, Put a quote at the top of this weekend's preparation plan. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always be the same player you've always been. No one says you have to stay the same. There's always opportunity to change. There's always opportunity to grow and do things differently, learn. And a lot of our guys are buying into that idea. I think he's certainly one of them.